How did that door open? How did you move into this capacity?
Someone else helped me to be who I am today. So I thought, it's a good thing for me to do the same.
How do you manage these volunteers? How do you get the best out of them?
You are not coming to do another job. You are coming to serve the people.
How can we say no? How can we turn down people?
We have been able to help almost every project that we have got. Very seldom that we have said no to.
When you look at the future, how do you envision Sri Lanka in the future?
Mother or the father needs to send a Facebook message to the child to come to eat. End of the day, you aren't getting anything other than the pleasure, the feeling that you get that you have done something for a better reason.
A blessed day to all of you. Once again, a warm welcome to Talks with Nalaka. As you know, with the experience of few weeks, this talk show is all about leadership, discovering the leadership talents in people, bringing it out, and giving you some information as to how you can better your leadership journey as you walk forward in whatever you want to do in life. So, as you know, every week we bring a leader and we discuss with them what are the leadership aspects that they see, leadership qualities that they have developed, and what they see about the future. So today in conversation with me, we have Mr. Moses Akash De Silva, who is the country director of the Voice for the Voiceless Foundation. So we warmly welcome Mr. Moses. And if you have read the Facebook post of Voice for the Voiceless, gone through their website, you know it is a very active foundation, and also it's a foundation that has always been able to bless this nation and support the people who are in need. So we are in conversation with that sort of a leader, and as you know, it's a bit different because this is a non-profit organization, not a normal business forum. It is a non-profit organization. So what we are trying to discuss today is about how do we move non-profit organizations forward, what should be its objectives, what are the leadership skills that are needed, and how we can move these organizations forward. That is what we are going to discuss in today's segment. So, warm welcome, Mr. Moses. And for the first question I would like to ask of you, can you just briefly explain the journey that you have come thus far to becoming the country director of Voice for the Voiceless Foundation? How did that door open? How did you move into this capacity? What is the story behind that?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this program. I've been watching this for the last few weeks, and it's an honor to be here. Actually, if you look at my life, how I started life and all, I grew up in an orphanage since I was 2 weeks old. And, once you're 18, the rule of the country is that you have to live independently and you have to come out. So when I came out of the orphanage when I was 18, I didn't have a place to go, and I was struggling as a teenager. And then I got connected to the church, Bethany Church, and actually I didn't have a place to stay even, but then I had the opportunity of staying with the pastor and serving in the church. Then I also had a desire to do something more, beyond church, and how I can help the others. So having this in my mind, Pastor Dishan De Silva brought up this concept called Voice, and said if there's anyone who is willing to take it over and pioneer the vision and move on. So I also had the same desire, so I thought, okay, this is a good thing for me to join. 6 years before, I joined Voice Foundation as a volunteer, and since then I started working, and then today I'm the director of the Voice Foundation as well. So this is how it started, and desire to help people, because I went through a hardship in life, and having lost everything. So someone else helped me to be who I am today. So I thought, it's a good thing for me to do the same, so that we can build more people like that.
If you notice, in every leadership talk, every leader that comes, the initiative that they are championing is birthed by a deep desire or a burden that they are carrying. So we see that Moses also was in a similar situation where he needed support, help from others, and that is the burden that compelled him to become the leader he is today. Now, Moses, if I ask you the question, in a country like Sri Lanka, do you think there's a need for a charity organization, a social arm? Why is it a need in Sri Lanka? And also, what should be the goals of such organizations? It's a charity or a non-profit organization. What should be their goals in Sri Lanka?
See, if you look at the past, if you go back few decades back and you see, we are a country, who had almost everything. We were one of the top countries in South Asia and even in the world. But 70 years, 80 years after, we see that we as a nation is struggling. Suppose for the national poverty line, the stat says that 4.1% of people are in poverty line below the national poverty line, which is $1.25 a day. In Sri Lankan money, it's about 250 rupees. So we had many organizations working in our country, who are working and who are doing a great work in our country. But unfortunately, for some reason, what we have seen is, we have a government-designated organization, a ministry called Ministry of Welfare, Social Welfare, and so on. But for some reason, we have seen we aren't moving forward, but the stats are increasing. So that's where we thought of what has gone wrong, and we started looking at it. So as a foundation, our mandate is to create a better Sri Lanka with better Sri Lankans, whereas we are concerned more about creating better Sri Lankans. So that's where we thought, okay, how can we help in such an initiative? So I think for some reason we have seen things aren't changing. So that's where we thought of, supporting in a different manner. For an example, it says you teach a man, you give a fish to a man and he will always want. But you teach him to fish and he will never be in want. So this is where we stand, and we as an organization, we are always looking at sustainable solutions. So it's very seldom that you see kind of organizations who are looking into such solutions. More of organizations who are donating things. So that is where I think we come as Voice Foundation.
I think that's a valuable point to all the social arms out there, all the charity organizations, sustainable solutions that will help people to live above the level of life they are right now living. That is, I think, a wonderful point that you just explained. And also, speaking about non-profitable organizations, social arms, now in a business, the goal is to bring out profits, to earn profits, to move the organization forward. But in a charity, it's different. The leader has to see differently and plan differently. So, as the leader of a charity organization, what sort of a mindset, what sort of an attitude should you have when you're leading such an organization? How does it differ from a business organization?
The number one thing is that we have to understand that we are, it's more than a business, we are supporting people and families for the betterment. So many times it's very seldom that you see people who will come and appreciate you for what you did, and who will say thank you and so on. So number one thing is that we must understand the appreciation part will be very seldom, and it's more than that, So you have to understand that you are supporting a person in need. So it's very, the percentage is very low that one would come and, do something better for you for what you did. So I think the main key is that you must understand that it's that you are helping a person rather than you are earning a profit at the end of the day. Suppose for a business organization, a business company, you would start at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and you end at 5 o'clock, and that's about it. Then you start on the following day. But this is totally different to that. There's no hours designated. Sometimes you have to go 24/7. Sometimes you have to travel, and then end of the day, you aren't getting anything other than the pleasure, the feeling that you get that you have done something for a better reason.
When we look through the Voice for the Voiceless Facebook page, we go through the website, we see that there are multiple projects that have been handled by your foundation. You have safe houses supporting children, then you have education centers around the nation, and also you have elderly homes supporting the elderly people. And then when devastation comes, some a flood or some sort of COVID-19 comes, you support those people as well. So sometimes there are about 80 to 100 projects that you manage at the same time. Now many leaders are struggling in this. How do I manage several projects at the same time? So you are a leader who is doing this superbly. So what are the tactics that you use to handle so many projects at the same time? What are the strategies? What are the methods that you have implemented? If you can share that, I believe it will be a blessing to many leaders.
First of all, the team is very important. I think, as I said, the concept that we have for charity organizations or for NGOs is like, you get highly paid. You get a package. So a lot of people, with all due respect to other organizations, I'm telling this, a lot of people come to a charity organization or an NGO looking at the package that they get. So one must understand that this is more than that. You are not coming to do another job. You are coming to serve the people. So regardless of what you get, it is about what you give back. And then also the team that you work is very important. Suppose for the 80 plus projects that we are doing at Voice, only 4 people are there as paid staff. The rest of the 76 are volunteers who are willingly supporting. So I think it's very important that we connect kind of people who have a passion and who has a heart to do kind of work. More than it goes beyond a job. So for us, many of these people whom we have been connected are people who has a passion or a heart to help the needy in the community. That is number one. So if you have a heart, a desire to help people, you aren't looking at the package that you are getting. So this is where it matters. So every time, if you are to do a charity organization or running a charity organization, it's very important that you understand what kind of a team that you are getting. If that person is more concerned about the salary that they get, you have to make sure that that kind of persons are with you. And then also the next most important thing is delegation, where you need to delegate people to do work, because you can't do everything alone. It's a fact that you can't do. Now suppose for these 80 plus projects that we do, we have designated people who are expertise on this particular area. Now suppose for children's work that we do, we have qualified people who are interested in working with children. Suppose for education, we have people who are interested in working on the education aspect. Sustainable development, likewise. So it's very important that you delegate kind of people and also allow them to do what they like. Give that freedom within the boundaries for them to do what they like. So sometimes the strategies that we use in Colombo won't work in Kilinochchi. It's two different ways. So what we have done is we have allowed the relevant, the person who is in charge to handle the whole project according to the way he thinks is better. And also the third thing I think is the accountability, where you have to always monitor the work, not just through a paper. What we do as a foundation is we always, once a month, we would send a representative from Colombo to inspect these projects. Not just merely a paper that we get at the end of the month where we think, okay, it's happening. No, but we physically go and check. So the 3 most important things I would say: the team, the delegation, and also the accountability.
You just mentioned about volunteers working with you. Now in businesses, when employers are there, employees are being controlled by the salary that the employer pays. So, but now when it comes to volunteers, there is no leeway in that sense. So how do you keep them faithful to you? How do you manage these volunteers? How do you get the best out of them? What are the tactics? How do you do this? If you can explain that also, I think it will be a blessing to all the leaders who are listening to us.
As I said, it's very important that we get connected with like-minded people. Most of the time, as I said, you aren't coming to do a job. So that is where we are concerned. We always try to get connected with like-minded people who are willing to support the needy. And also it's important that you should not abandon them when they are in need. Many a times what we have seen is, you take work and end of the day when they are in need, you just leave them. No, that's not what I think should happen. Now for this example, we were traveling to a particular place out of Colombo during this COVID-19 situation. We didn't know that this family was, supposed to be quarantined for 14 days, and it was about 11 days. And we visited them. We didn't go inside though, but we were at the gate. When we saw, the PHI officers came and asked, and said that you are not allowed to go in. And we were almost being taken to quarantine for 14 days. But that's the kind of commitment that you need to have also. You're not just work. When they are in need, you should be standing with them as well. So suppose for the volunteers, that is where we have we have done well, I suppose, where we've been able to be with them and appreciate the work we do, that they do, and always stand with them in their need also.
As a charity organization, there are things that you can do and also boundaries where you cannot cross, you cannot help them. Now, a big problem that leaders are facing is they say, how can we say no? How can we turn down people? How can we say, no, we can't do this? Leaders are they're struggling with this. Now, you're a leader in the charity organization, and maybe more than other leaders, you have to say no because of the restrictions that you have. So, how do you successfully say no? How do you turn down people? Is it easy? And how do you fare in this?
It's not easy at all, but see, we have categorized our work into 5 main categories, and each organization, they have their own mandate. So we have a mandate, and we have categorized our work accordingly, like shelter, education, empowerment, relief, and advocacy. These are like 5 main categories that we work. So whatever project that we get, we would check and see like where and which category does this project falls into. So number 1 is if that doesn't fall into one of these categories, we would say no. Now suppose for an example, voice is not helping people who are with medical needs. So we get, a lot of the time we get requests asking for money for my medical condition, I need a kidney, or I need a heart transplant, and so much of money. But our mandate is not to help kind of people. So kind of request, when we get such kind of request, we are saying no because it's not in our mandate. And also, as Pastor always says, you can't say yes to everything. But what we say is, we will try our best. So we would inform the person who is in need that currently we are unable to help, but definitely we'll look into it. So far, with God's grace, I would say we have been able to help almost every project that we have got. Very seldom that we have said no to. But it's very hard, and at the end of the day, you have to make your mind also that you can't do everything.
It's challenging. Now, the next challenge in a charity organization or a social arm is funds. You need funds to support people, to support projects, and to keep the projects rolling on. Now, many leaders struggle with, how do I find funds, how do I find donors, how do I find available resources that can back my projects, that can help me move my projects forward. Now, you are a very successful person in this. As you said, many projects that voice advertisers, they end up completing it. So how do you do this? How do you find the right donors, and how do you help raise the funds for all of your projects? Any few pointers that will help our listeners?
Number 1 thing is that you must be very accountable to the people whom you get help from, and also where you will be able to have a transparent communication with them. There's no hidden agendas. And also, like Warren Buffett once said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So this is what we do. Sometimes if it's a project which needs 500,000 rupees, many times what I've seen is a lot of people, when it comes to fundraising, they only do one particular project and look to raise that 500,000 from that particular project. Suppose if that fails, that means the entire project is gonna fail. So what we do is we categorize, or we divide it into different portions, and then we do several projects to raise fund. Now, selling key tags, or doing a car wash, or doing another kind of a thing. So what we do is, instead of raising 500,000 in one project, we do 10 different projects, where as the goal becomes a smaller one. It's only 5,000 rupees that you need to raise, or 50,000 rupees that you need to raise for a particular thing. So each project targets to raise a certain amount, and when you calculate it at the end of the day, you have raised the amount. So if it comes to fundraising, this is one thing that I think. One is accountability and transparency, and then also you do several projects to raise funds for one particular project.
Okay, the last question for today's program. When you look at the future, how do you envision Sri Lanka in the future? Where do you think it will be? And what would Voice's role be in that journey? How would you support Sri Lanka to be in that position that you envision?
See, we are heading towards a digital world, a digital generation, where everything is being controlled by a device. Unfortunately, as we see as at now, even people are being controlled by a device. So a lot of the time what we have seen is the interaction between people, or the communication between people physically has gone down. So we as a nation, we as a world is heading towards that. So I think it's very important that we look at that aspect where the family is concerned, and where we should look at how we can help the families. Most of the time, certain instances you can see where the mother or the father needs to send a Facebook message to the child to come to eat. To that extent we have moved into a digital world. And unfortunately, where we have seen in the other side of the coin, people don't have interactions between other people. They don't talk with each other. They don't have communications with each other. And that has led into a different aspect where people are fighting for each other's rights. Suppose for the same family, if the mother is fighting for the women's rights, the father is fighting for men's right, and the child is fighting for child rights. And if you look at the family, where has this been violated? It's in the family concept. So I think it's very important that we create a culture or an environment where this family unit needs to be strengthened. So looking at the future, what we are looking at is sustainable solutions through strengthening the families, because really if you look at the grassroots level, for all the problems that we face today, I would say almost all the problems is a reason where the dysfunctional family or a situation which has happened in the family that has led them to do what they do. So I think strengthening the family is very important. So we as a foundation, that is where we are looking at in the future.
Great. Today we were in conversation with Moses Akash De Silva, who is the country director of Voice for the Voiceless. So thank you very much, Mr. Moses, for coming today. I hope listening today you gained much more insight about leadership, how to lead non-profit organizations, what are the leadership skills needed, how to handle many projects together, how to say no. Many great nuggets were shared today. So I believe it will bless you in your journey in leadership. And once again, next week we are going to come to meet you with another special person in leadership. So if you want to contact Pastor Moses, help him, support him, Voice for the Voiceless, you want to support in being a volunteer, financially, whatever, you can contact him. His number is on the screen, so you can contact him and get together and help create better Sri Lanka through better citizens in Sri Lanka. So have a great day. Once again, we will meet you next week. Have a great day.